Welcome to The Sex Matters. I'm Dr. Thuy.
And I'm Jenna Stewart.
In today's episode, we're diving into the complex and painful topic of sexual betrayal and its impact on trust and intimacy.
We'll hear a powerful personal story of betrayal, explore how early experiences shape our relationships, and witness a unique trust-building exercise in the sex lab.
Get ready for an emotional journey into healing and rebuilding after betrayal. Just do a quick centering exercise. And what I want you to think about for today is the concept of betrayal. What does that word mean to you? Have you experienced it? And just noticing how you feel in your body. One of the most difficult things about betrayal is how long it takes to heal from it. We want to be patient with the people that we love and care about. And sexual betrayal is especially difficult. Do you want to share anything about your experiences with people with sexual betrayal and how it manifests?
I think I have a few people in my life that, the guard goes up when someone comes into their life. I see like a real wall of don't get too close, it don't feel good, don't be vulnerable. I think that's the biggest one, is just vulnerability is such an uncomfortable place for people to be when they've had these walls for so long. That feeling is, that's not right. This feeling is wrong. Vulnerability is wrong. When that's like where the growth comes from. Finding that vulnerability again after betrayal is like a really beautiful place to discover love again and really letting someone in to be able to trust them.
It's really beautifully put, how Jenna said that. And one of the structures of how we're doing this work is what is coming next is that we are bringing in an anonymous guest. The reason that I wanted to do this way was there's so many stories that I hear that are so powerful in this work that are primarily kept in a kind of a private, secret space because they don't have an outlet or it's shameful or scary to talk about. So I wanted to create a format that would allow for freedom of expression with stories that I think are so deep and moving. It's like when I was saying to you that I see people as perfect, but this is what happened to them, and these are the stories that they have had to live, and these are the experiences that have created the defenses within them that exist today. And we're going to bring in an anonymous guest, a woman that has gone through a betrayal process, and that has ended in divorce. What I'd like to do is just give them the space to speak freely. Do you have any questions about today? Perfect. Hi.
Hi.
I first wanted to start off by saying how brave you are to be here. And I want to check in with how you're feeling, because you're here because you want to tell a story, but the most important thing is you. And that's where we're going to start. So I can tell that you're a little nervous.
Very nervous.
Yeah. This particular episode is on betrayal, and it's interesting because when we track your experience of that, it certainly began when you were quite young. And so you tell me how you would like to start. I want to be really respectful of the way that you want to do this. And I'm here, I'm with you. I can absolutely ask and prep questions and things, but what I feel is the most powerful is you just starting wherever it is that feels right for you.
I think my story starts with my mother. She was an alcoholic for most of my life, and she was pretty neglectful. I had no boundaries, no There were no rules. She was emotionally erratic. I didn't have anyone to turn to emotionally because she was completely unavailable because she was drunk most of the time. And so I had a hard time developing intimate relationships with people. And I think as I got older and began to date, that transferred to the people that I chose to date. And I dated emotionally unavailable people and addicts. And I've been in several relationships where I was cheated on. You know, the reason behind it, very different reasons. Some were sex addiction, some were just, I wasn't attractive to my partner. And I think that the betrayal, the constant and repeated betrayal in a sexual context does something to a person's identity, sense of, self-worth. I think I started to gain a lot of weight. In one of my relationships, I think I put on 60 pounds because I couldn't understand why my partner wasn't attracted to me. And so I thought it was about me. There was something wrong with me. And so I was like, if there's something wrong with me, I'm going to make it so that I'm going to protect myself and make it appear to the world like, hey, there's a reason why he doesn't want to be with her. It's because she's really fat. And little by little, it eats away at your sense of self.
Yeah. I can feel how painful that is for you.
Because you're wondering, why is my partner choosing everybody else except for me?
It's a sense of rejection.
Sense of rejection, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not thin enough. I'm just not enough.
Yeah. And what would you say about the way that your relationship with your mother then translated into the relationships that you had romantically?
My mother was not really trustworthy. I couldn't trust her to take care of my needs, emotional or physical. I was very much left on my own, and so I think I sought partners who would do the same, who wouldn't take care of whatever emotional or physical or sexual needs that I had.
Yeah, it became a pattern.
Absolutely. One after the other, after the other.
What else do you want to share about your story?
That betrayal can really wreak havoc on your sense of self. Mm-hmm. If you focus too much on why your partner doesn't want to be with you rather than why do you want to be with this person who doesn't want you.
Yeah. And is that something that you want to talk about more? About that dynamic in other relationships, romantic for you?
I had mentioned before, gaining weight, but also, not developing in a sexual way, being able to experience sexuality in a healthy way, not thinking of myself as a sexual being.
Yeah, except that you are.
I hope to be.
Mm-hmm. And you want to be. But a lot of those relationships, the themes of betrayal would be there as well. You would see those in the relationships that you engaged in. I imagine not always just romantic too. Friends, work, did it kind of permeate life?
Yeah. I would say the underlying issue was, inability to trust people, but then picking people that weren't trustworthy in friendships and in relationship.
Yeah. Betrayal often does that. It will impair the most significant aspect of a relationship, which is that bond of trust. But it does devastate. It's like a soul-crushing experience. It's often changes the way that people feel about themselves, how they see their lives. retrospectively, they kind of wonder, is anything real? You know, what's real?
Well, that hits close to home. I think that was probably the biggest impact of being in so many relationships with unfaithful partners is the skewed sense of reality. You don't know, like, you don't trust yourself anymore. What you believe to be true, you're being told isn't true. And when you hear that enough, it turns your world upside down.
Yeah. For people that are listening to your story, is there anything that you feel is important that you want to share?
Stop thinking about what other people think about you and feel about you, and get in touch with how you feel about yourself. Because if you're like feeling good about yourself and where you are and have confidence in who you are, like nothing anyone tells you can shift that for you. And you'll draw in like the right people.
Beautiful. I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Let's just take a nice deep breath. That story was very emotional. And I want to get a sense of what it brought up for you, right? It's like, this idea that we're talking about betrayal, but I'm sure that you had some observations. What did you think?
I think I identified with her in many ways. I knew immediately that, given her life experience, she was going to choose a partner who would not be able to give her whatever she needed or wanted in a relationship. It just seemed like the life experience set her up to make those types of decisions.
You know, it's so interesting because her relationship did not last, and she ended up getting a divorce, and it's really powerful because she's just starting to come into her own in so many beautiful ways. But your observations were perfect because there was a pattern that until she was able to break it, she was destined to repeat it.
I was struck by the chaos that was created and the way that in all that chaos you get used to it. Yeah. And when it's not there, it's disorienting. Chaos and disorder just is a horrible way to live.
It's a way to prolong the suffering.
And you end up pushing away people unintentionally just because it's normal at that point.
That defense against others is in theory going to keep us safe, but in actuality, it keeps us impenetrable to things like love and connection. Our work is really to break open into the space where that can be a conversation. So what I'd like to do next is to work on establishing in the sex lab how trust is an important dynamic in relationships. Oftentimes, the primary thing after betrayal is working with somebody so they can start the process of trusting. It's such a devastating aspect of their life that trust is the foundation of where we want to start for the healing. We're going to go into the sex lab, and I'd like to do this exercise with Kathy. What I want to do is I'm going to have you blindfold her. So I'm going to send Jenna off to prep the sex lab. Is anything coming up for you, Kathy?
A little bit of, a little nervous about this. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what are you feeling in terms of being nervous?
I want to trust Jenna, but I'm afraid that I might, I don't know, malfunction in the room.
Okay. And the malfunctioning in the room, describe that a little bit.
I think I'd probably giggle a little bit or try to pull the blindfold off. I don't know, just interrupting whatever is trying to happen.
Anything like that is what's trying to happen.
I know.
So If you giggle, it's perfect.
Okay.
Right? If you malfunction in that room, I'll be there.
Okay.
Okay? Your job, and you're so good at this, is to be really close to what you feel and what's true, whether it's true or not. So, one of the dynamics that's really going to be interesting is this is a new relationship for Kathy to be working, one, with a woman, two, with a sexual surrogate, and they don't have the same level of trust that maybe Kathy and I have, right? Because it's a different relationship. So, all I want to know is, after experiences, not just in betrayal, but when you're first meeting someone, how do you establish trust? Does anybody have any questions? Remember, have fun. Off you go. This is an exercise where I want to make sure that we are asking a lot of permission and being able to be really clear with her that you are establishing trust. Let her know that in this moment, this is about her.
So this is about you. So is it okay if I blindfold you?
Yes.
Okay.
And just as you're seeing Jenna blindfold, just noticing how gentle and precise that she's being very conscientious of how she's doing it. There is a very tender, nurturing aspect of how she's going about this. You can just see with her hands, she's very relaxed. I like the way that they're communicating.
Yes, that's better. Thank you.
Go ahead and give her a positive reinforcement for that.
I like that you told me you're giving me corrections, letting me know it's okay. Does that feel good?
Yep.
Okay. You're covered?
Yes.
Great.
It's very significant when we take a certain sense out of our awareness. So, for example, right now, Kathy doesn't have her eyesight sense, the visual sense. She doesn't have access to that. And so go ahead and Jenna and ask her how that feels right now in the moment.
How does that feel in the moment?
Feels good.
Okay. She feels good.
I don't know what good means. I do not want us in the sex lab saying things that are general.
Can you be more descriptive in what you're feeling right now versus a general word? Just kind of what your body's doing.
I'm feeling a little tingly in my chest, like an excited sense of anticipation. Like I'm curious as to what's going to happen next. I don't feel as nervous as I was before, just a little bit more excited.
What is allowing for the excitement versus the nervousness?
Can you explain the nervousness versus the excitement?
The nervousness, I think now thinking about it, the nervousness was more about like, performing, like would I do okay in this scenario? And the excitement is because I'm present in the moment and I'm just waiting to experience whatever is coming next. I think the nervousness was not knowing what was coming and worried that, I don't know, I would do something wrong.
Do you trust me?
I do trust you. A little hesitant, but I trust you.
So she said that really fast, Jay. Let's slow down that I do. That almost felt too reactive.
I want you to just take a moment, take a deep breath, and then really connect and tell me, do you 100% trust me right now? I do feel I should say it with you right now.
So let's talk about what trust actually means. Then she knows that it's 100%.
What does trust mean to you?
Safety. I realized that you asked if I trust you, and I responded with safety. I think that you are answering it for me. you responded somewhat fast, so I just want you to connect with your words to your body. If your body trusts me. Yes. Your body absolutely trusts you, right?
So give her this line: you're sexy when you're messy.
Kathy, you're sexy when you're messy.
I am. Yeah, I like to hear that. That's awesome because I am very messy.
Right. So she doesn't really get that very often. Like, it's okay to be messy. We live in a very organized world. So she just told you that that felt good to hear. Ask her to tell you more. I want her to change the way she's communicating, i.e. in bed, I want her to be able to talk about it in a way that she can really express what feels good.
So I want you to tell me, in the mess of being sexy, what feels good? What feels free for you? I want you to explain slowly how that feels to be 100% in your body and messy and sexy and just honest with a partner.
I feel sexy when my hair is messy. I feel sexiest when I'm naked. So my clothes wouldn't be sexy, but I don't like having to worry about like my partner's breath or my breath or like the way my body smells or the way my partner's body smells. Like, I just feel like being in the moment and not worrying about any of those external like senses makes me feel really sexy and confident.
No judgment.
No judgment.
Yeah.
I think we're going to shift gears. I'm going to go with what the patient is feeling. So let her know that based on what we're working on, we're going to actually work on the freedom of expression as it relates to smells.
Okay, so the exercise is going to be something related to smell.
Let her know that you're going to, with her permission, lean your head to the left and move in very slowly. And you're going to smell the side of her neck.
I'm going to move in, okay? And just using your sense of smell. Okay, you okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
And really slow, deliberate, Jay. And just letting her feel what it's like. And then a very deliberate sniff. And then pulling away slowly and just asking her how that was for her.
How was that for you?
Felt good. I could smell you, which was a turn on.
And how do we know she's turned on?
How do I know you're turned on? Can you explain that? What's your body doing?
I think there's the desire to smell more. Like,
Great.
I get a little whiff and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I'd like to smell more.
Invite her to come to you
That's a
and
turn
let
on
her
for me.
smell you. And then we'll pause.
I'm going to invite you
And-
to come toward me and just use your sense of smell to smell me. You come a little closer.
And tell Kathy to do that messier, and I didn't
smell
like
him.
that one bit.
You're being very restrictive, so I want you to be messy. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Just
Just come in, smell something,
smell.
and smell with every part of your body. And there, I love that. Switch sides, have her do the other side.
No judgment.
Go ahead and take her blindfold off and let her know that you're doing that.
Taking your blindfold off.
Letting her get acclimated to the light.
Take a minute.
Taking a nice deep breath. Deep breath. I have her
Right.
come back into the group room.
Back into the group room.
All right.
What was that like for you guys?
You worried about performing on camera, and I understand that, and knowing how transformative it could have been. And then also, since we're developing a new relationship with Jenna, I think I was a little protective of that spark of, yeah.
Thank you.
Peter, anything for you?
At first very restrained. And then when Jenna said to you, you know, being messy is sexy, that warmed you up, that opened you up a lot. I think you became much more relaxed then. But it was interesting too when there wasn't necessarily a reaction at first when Jenna came over and smelled your neck. And I was looking very closely to see if there was a reaction, a physical reaction that I could see, and I didn't see one. But then again, as you got into it, you became more expressive. So you became much more comfortable in the space. But I think the first thing was that permission. The messiness is sexy. Sort of gave you a lot of permission that I don't think you were giving yourself.
Oh, right on the nose, Peter. That landed.
I'm going to say that I saw a subtle change when Jenna first came in. There was just a little smile, little crack of a smile that started to develop, like, oh, this is kind of interesting, but I can't really acknowledge it at this point along the way. So I'm curious if, were you feeling like there was, like it was really nice to have her come in and to...
I think because I didn't see her coming in, I didn't know she was near my neck until I could feel her breath. And then I was like, oh, this is what's happening. And then I was like, oh, cool. But like up until that point in the interim, I had no idea like what the exercise was. So.
It's a very deliberate exercise. If we're going to work on trust, specifically if she had her eyes open, she could anticipate. So even though they were saying that there was trust between them, I want to make sure there's trust between them. And so there is an element of you get to know what's going to happen. If you trust what's going to happen, she will allow it to happen. If she doesn't, her body will react, which is what we would work and look at in the future. Jenna, anything that you felt as you were working with Kathy that felt important to share?
Well, when you first come in, your energy is very warm, and I don't sense like it's not. You're very present, and then when I took that away from you, it got. Even though I asked you if you trust me, it's I'm taking away your perception. Is there danger? You don't have that anymore. So I think that then when I come in to smell, it's what you just said. It's like, I'm not sure what's happening, but that's vulnerability. And so me asking, do you trust me? What does that feel like in my body where you can go, yes, everything feels good. I feel that when me coming in and you not knowing, you go, okay. So then it took that second for you to just go, oh, okay, this is what we're doing now. And so then when you came in, it was messy. It was like, oh, this is what I'm doing now. I'm going to smell you. Okay. And it was messy. Like we had this like exchange of energy. So it's when you do find that trust and you feel it, that you can kind of like sink into vulnerability, be like, what's going to happen? It's a beautiful place to be with someone.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Fun. Good. Final thoughts for you, Kathy?
I think it was a great exercise for me in being even more present, because you said like I was present and warm, but I think that taking away a sense helped me be even more present and just sort of let it happen rather than like setting it up or like the anticipation. I kind of like the idea of not knowing what happens next.
And the asking of trust is important to establish in a relationship before you get into that situation where something is taken away. Like you would never get into bed with a partner and they're like, I'm going to blindfold you before you really connect that we trust each other.
Yeah. Yeah, no way. I would never do that without establishing trust first.
Perfect. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you for joining us on our exploration of sexual betrayal and trust. We've covered a lot today, from the devastating effects of betrayal to practical strategies for healing.
Our guest shared her raw experiences, while our sex lab exercise demonstrated the delicate process of rebuilding trust.
Remember, healing from betrayal is possible with time, support, and commitment to growth. Thank you for joining us on this powerful episode of The Sex Matters. This is Dr. Thuy,
And I'm Jenna Stewart.
signing off.
So Jenna and I haven't worked together quite as long as I've worked with Thuy, and so I was a little bit apprehensive, but in many ways I trust her by proxy, because if Thuy trusts her, I know she's trustworthy. And when we were in the sex lab, definitely like her energy made me feel calm and safe, and I wasn't afraid that she was going to do something that was going to hurt me or scare me. So it was fun and exciting. But I think that, you know, the level of trust still needs to be built, but I absolutely trust her because Thuy trusts her. I'm just really grateful in being able to explore, you know, wounds that have been there for a while that I thought I had processed and gotten over, and Thuy really got into the smell thing, and it's given me some things to chew on and think about.